Support from friends, family, professionals, and community organizations is particularly important to individuals with special needs and the families that care for them. EP's annual family and community issue is filled with information and personal stories that are intended to help improve the lives of those with special needs and those who care for them. Sign up and read the issue for free at www.epmagazine.com.
Suicide is preventable, and each of us has a role to play in suicide prevention.
Suicide is complex. There is no single cause.
And it's not always a mental health issue. It could be loss of a job or home, financial or relationship issues, pain, or leaving the military.
Suicide does not discriminate. It affects all ages, races, and genders, veterans or not.
If you know a veteran who is struggling, connect with them. Let them know help is available.
There is quick and easy access to services in times of crisis.
Dial 988, then press 1. Talking about it is okay.
Don't keep it inside. Don't be ashamed. Don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Hello and welcome again to Oscar Mike Radio. We're off to a fast start in 2024. My name is Travis, Marine Corps veteran and your host. Oscar Mike Radio is part of the Hubazoo Network. You can find out more on hubazoo.com. I want to thank my sponsors, Joyce Asack of Asack Real Estate, Army National Guard veteran Mark Holmes of Reapers Detailing and Power Washing, and my supporters, all veteran-owned businesses, Caisson Shaving Company, Savage American Woodwork, Black Cat Designs, and the shirt I'm wearing, Bone Frog Warrior Apparel. Thank you very much. Hey, we're back. It's 2024. It's cold where I am. It's cold where my guest is, but he's hot. He's on fire. I want to welcome back to Oscar Mike Radio, Mark Peterson, part of the People's Patriot Project. Mark, welcome back to Oscar Mike Radio, man.
What's going on, brother?
Well, it's when this drops, it's January. It's cold here. It's probably colder in Minnesota, but we're just lighting up veteran-wise, man. It's great to have you back. You guys are still doing this after all this time. I kind of felt like, you know what, I want to, reach out to, my guy, see what's going on. You have a lot of perspective about what's going on in our community. And so we're going to talk about, the People's Patriot Project, where you are, and the state of veterans advocacy. How about that?
Love it. I love it, man. We'll get there. We'll figure it out, right?
One way or another. So you started the People's Patriot Project like 4 years now, right? 4 or 5 years?
So initially the paperwork was put in 2012. Held it close to my heart because I didn't want anyone to steal the ideas. And then we fully ramped and launched it 2018, realizing we're still losing it 6,000 veterans per year. We lost 6,000 veterans for the last 20 years straight. And it was time to get off the pot, man. I wasn't saving anyone, not doing anything and holding it close to my heart. So it was time to put my mouth, or put my money where my mouth was, I guess.
You did that, right? And you got it going. You got Andrea Eichmann behind you and other people behind you. And the last time we talked, you were really kind of building out your network and framework in Minnesota. And it's really, really cool, right? You are in what I consider the northern part of the U.S. Where you are is a big place with a lot of people, and there's needs there too. There's needs everywhere, and you are all finding your way to meet those needs.
100%.
COVID hit, and you guys got through COVID. So let's just start there on the exit of COVID. What was it like? You had to struggle, right, and really get creative to get through the COVID years. That 2 years for a lot of nonprofits didn't survive.
Yeah.
What was it like coming out of that, Mark?
For us, it was kind of like a rebirth, so to speak. I mean, we had doubled down during COVID. I don't know if you're aware and familiar, but the majority of the network in Minnesota, I can't say the majority anymore, but at that time, many of the supporters were educators. Andrea and myself both teach school as well, and educators. And so we looked at each other at a board meeting one day and we're like, you know what? Everyone says they're depressed. Actually, not everyone. The news, the media was saying we're depressed. We'll never be the same. We're not going to make it out of this. What are we going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, in my head the whole time, I was like, this is mindset. What is your, and that's a big verb these days, mindset. And I'm like, I'm not going to say I'm the godfather, but I'm like, no, I'm not depressed. Yes, is this different? But I'm like, Andrea, we've got to put something out there that gets veterans a place to share where they're at. I think that's the important piece. And we've heard this, and I'm watching Oscar Mike Radio. I'm watching other podcasts. I'm in with Heroes Media and Adam Bird. Adam Bird is one of our board members. I mean, he's been for 5 years and was in the beginning, the godfather of the People's Patriot Project. And I'm like, I don't want to do a podcast. I don't want to create content. I don't want to do any of that stuff. And so I'm like, well, let's create a virtual happy hour because we're teachers. We're working in Zoom as it is. We can create a Zoom on Friday nights and we can start inviting people in to share their ideas. Well, we do that and we're having a good time. Everyone is talking. Everyone's getting stuff off their chest. We're doing little bits like what's in your cup. And so we're all sharing what we're drinking. And we would get 50 to 100 plus people on these Zooms that are just, sharing where they're at. It was weird. It was a weird time. People were struggling to a point just because they didn't know what was next. And let's be honest, who really did know what direction that was all going to go? I think there was a foundation of understanding, but again, none of us was in control of what our space was doing. And so we're following that. And again, every week this little virtual happy hour kept growing and kept growing, kept growing. And I looked at everyone after a while and I'm like, we can't do this on Friday every night because those are the nights I really want to go out and have a good time. And so we moved it to Sunday because no one has a good time on Sunday nights. Of course, we didn't realize we were going to be competing with the NFL at that point, but we don't compete with the NFL anymore. Anyway, we went on Sunday nights at 6 o'clock. We got your 6 at 6. That's an amazing branding element if you're in the Midwest. If you're not in the Midwest, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever because it's not at 6 o'clock when our show's on in California or on the East Coast. But to be honest with you, we came out of COVID. We had started bringing on boots on the ground organizations and we had started networking and we brought Tony Turner onto our show sing his music. And the next thing I know, a couple months later, we have Chris Turner on our show.
Yep, another one.
And Chris Turner says, hey, you know what? In 2 months, we're going to be down in Nashville. He's in Nashville, but I'm going to do the Stop 22 tour. I'd like you guys to come down and check it out. And Andrea and I looked at each other because we were the primaries at that time. We had Shad Turner out of Texas who was helping with the podcast at the time. And so we went down to Nashville. And I thought we were just going to step into a space. Now, some of our friends, some of our network, Adam Jones with Feed the Heroes Foundation out of Georgia, and Tony Turner. So one of the things we do for veterans is a recalibration retreat. And we knew Tony, and he's fine with me sharing this. He had his struggles, and I'm like, I looked at Andrea and I said, "This is a recalibration retreat. We're going to bring Tony and his wife into Nashville. We're going to give them a wine and dine weekend. It's not going to cost them a thing. We're going to let them enjoy." And we had networked with some other musicians, and we had talked with some other groups, and Adam Jones came up for it, and it was our own little. But when we got there, there's Oscar Mike Radio, and there's Danny Rocco Donatella, and there is I can't even remember all the people that. I mean, it's
Patriot is great.
Our platform. We got this picture of all of us together, and it's just like, ba-ba! And so it gave us an opportunity to network and just absolutely accelerated everything forward. And I started watching more Oscar Mike Radio, started seeing how you guys did it because you guys were the pros at the time. And I'm like, you know what? We've got to do better than what we're doing now. And we're going to create a different format. And graphics came in and new platforms came in. We went from Zoom to StreamYard. And we started entertaining all these veteran and first responder musicians, which there are hundreds of, and no one even stops to realize. Let's talk about the classics. I mean, Willie Nelson's a veteran. Johnny Cash is a veteran.
Out. I knew Johnny Cash was. Willie Nelson served.
Yep.
Get out.
Yep. Check it out. Check it out.
I'll have to. I learn something new every day.
Cash, Elvis Presley. I mean, Elvis Presley served, but what's really cool is we have Amelia Presley, who's like a second cousin to him, and she's a veteran as well and in the music industry, and we love Amelia Presley. But again, there's all these nuances and all these pieces that stack together, and then we've got just this plethora of amazing, legitimate recording artists that the world doesn't even know of.
What's the thing? I mean, I will say this: I'm sitting there Sunday night, just kind of chilling out. I'm done playing Xbox. I'm kind of getting ready for work. You guys will come up and I'll check in, and I'm like, how do you all do it? There's like a different artist on every week, and they're good. Now, I'm not a country guy, you know that, but I'm like, I can't lie, Tony. These people are good at what they do. Like how's that work?
There's no answer. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I was sitting in Nashville for another reason, some amazing pieces. And I called up Chris Turner, and we're sitting there together, and he's okay with me sharing this information, but he's like, Mark, if I hear another person say, why aren't you playing on mainstream radio? I'm going to punch him in the face. And he's not punching anyone in the face, but he's just like, everyone else sees the value. Why can't I get that step? And I'm like, we're working on the step, brother. We're working on it. There has to be, in my opinion, an event that accelerates these guys. We're working on that. I know you want to know what's going on in 2024, and I don't want to get completely off the subject because this is a great conversation here. But we're looking at doing an event in 2024 that will be that step that helps these veterans. Here's the deal. This weekend, we had a veteran musician booked. He got hold of us today. He said he can't make it. I reached out into our network, did a couple posts, said, hey, blah, blah, blah. But then I handpicked just because I wanted to reach out to someone. And I reached out to Dom Kurz. And Dom Kurz is out of Texas. And this guy is one of the coolest rhythm and blues, amazing artists out there. I mean, he's amazing. I love his music. 2021, we did an event up here in Minnesota. I brought Jen Ford, BJ Leggett, Dom Kurz, the real Doug Lane, Stephen John was supposed to come up, and we did an event in Minnesota. The coolest part about it was the after hours show that we get to be involved with, where we're sitting in this large room at an Airbnb. They are all playing, and we're eating these ribeyes, and life is amazing. We're smoking cigars, we're drinking bourbon, and it's my private little concert, the down and gritty stuff, but they're playing off each other, and they're saying, well, let's do that. Next thing I know, Jen Ford, Dom Cruz, and BJ Leggett creates a three-group piece down in Texas, and they start touring Texas together. And that's exactly what we want to do. That's exactly the pieces we want to put together.
That's it. That's because look, folks, I'll have it the link in the Oscar Mike Radio show post. If Even if you're not bored on a Sunday night and your team sucks, if you're a Pats fan, your team definitely sucks right now. Just letting you know.
For sure.
And I'm not even a Pats fan, but at 6 o'clock Sunday night, well, 7 o'clock our time, watch some great musicians, especially if you love country music. And I'm not a country music fan, but I can promise you it's not a waste of time.
Well, Travis, if I can interrupt for a second,
even
if they don't want to do that, they can tune into WP3 Radio, which is all these guys exclusively veteran and first responder radio.
Right. Thank you, Mark.
Yes.
Thank you for reminding me. So you got to give me the link so I can put it in the Oscar Mike Radio show post.
I will give it to you. Yes. It's going to take me a second, but
not right now. Not right now. After the show, okay. So I can put it. Yeah. Sure. Folks, this is like mind blowing right now. But you have like a whole I don't know, squadron. I'm an Air Wing Marine of talent ready to go out there and start dropping bombs. I wonder if YouTube will demonetize me for that.
So we've ran into a little niche, and we didn't. This is absolutely nothing we had planned. Nothing that we wanted to necessarily. We didn't plan this, but we've got roughly 170 plus musicians right now. We've got roughly 8 comedians in the network right now. And the nice nuance in this is during our show, when we have boots on the ground organizations, every single one of them do an annual event and they want entertainment. So they reach out to us because they know we have the network, and we sign up musicians for these events. And we don't charge anyone for that. We want to make sure your event is successful. We want to make sure that you have talent there that draws people to your event. And we feel that's a way that, we're giving back to veterans by making sure those guys, now they don't come free. Here's the difference. You can get an Aaron Lewis for $30,000, or you can get a Chris Turner for $5,000. I mean, that's kind of the difference. And
I've seen Chris perform 6 times, and let me tell you what, that is $5,000 well spent. He leaves it out there every time.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm not going to put Chris's stuff out there, but if you're a friend of the family, he will take care of you. And that I want to leave it at that. I mean, he doesn't help himself out all the time. He wants to make sure everyone else gets taken care of.
That's a very real, interesting slice of veterans advocacy, if you will, that I haven't really considered. That you do have all these, because again, Mark, it's where are these people coming from? And if you can have them funnel to you can get them out there. What a way to help them out, because they appreciate it.
We call it a trifecta. I mean, it's therapeutic for them to do their music. Now, let's be real. Not all the music that these veterans and first responders are talking about, being in the trenches and throwing grenades and stuff like that, they've got real life, real music. I mean, country, you lost your pickup, lost your dog, lost your wife kind of stuff. Real stuff. But we've got the gamut. We've got screamers, we've got R&B, we've got opera. I didn't think I was going to ever like opera, but if you get the chance to listen to Jesus Hernandez, he's the walking tenor. He will change your life. It is another level of amazingness, and I got goose pimples talking about it.
I could see you in a tux, Mark, enjoying from the box seat in the opera.
I should go throw my tux on. I got a green WP3 tux.
I'm sure you do. So this has really expanded your horizons to different things that you didn't even think you were going to be doing. I mean, what's
by
this?
Accident. I mean, it takes focus off of our mission, to be honest with you. But
let's swing it back here. What is the mission?
So our mission is, and our mission statements changed since we started this, because at the beginning, we were the classic, and we got a lot of branding groups and marketing groups say, we don't even want to work with you because you have the exact same mission statement as all 46,000 other organizations. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, we're going to fix it. Because the first one is to honor and to support veterans and first responders. And again, everyone that is in the first responder world wants to honor and support veterans and first responders. I'm like, okay, fine. Let's find something else. So we are now the shock and awe in combating the silent, deadly, and invisible enemies of our daily heroes. And we don't touch just PTSD. Everyone, a few years back, someone said, oh, you need to specialize. Specialize in what? We got people dying every day. I don't care to specialize. When you go fishing, you throw on different lures, you throw on different baits to catch different fish. And that's why, for example, we don't specialize in our music either, because I need that screamer guy. If you watched Hurt Locker, you know that guy didn't listen to Kumbaya and or Taylor Swift when he was getting ready to go defuse bombs. He was listening to screaming stuff. And I can't remember verbatim exactly. I'll go back and I'm like, oh yeah, I should have remembered who this
My kind
was.
of stuff,
But
like the metal stuff.
yeah. Oh, you ask for rock all the time, and we're like, we got you. Die Tired. Check them out.
Die Tired.
Every time. Yep.
I'm on it.
Die Tired. Yeah, check them out. Every time I find a rock group, I think of Travis Partington. I'm like, we got to put this out there. We got to let Travis know this is who we got coming on.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Die Tired. On it. So it is about shock. It's funny you mentioned this thing about not just focusing on PTSD. And the reason I kind of want to pick your brain about that for a little bit, Mark, is some people, not only in our community, but also, clinicians and people who support us are like, we've given all this money. We've come to golf events, motorcycle rides, runs, pool, whatever. And, what's happening with that? And there's certainly other challenges out there, but I don't know about you, but I sense a little fatigue in our community with advocacy about PTSD. I'm not saying it's not a problem; it is, but
Sure.
what's your answer to that?
Well, I don't know. I have a great answer. There's great organizations out there that are doing great. Mighty Oaks
Sure.
is doing an amazing job, from what I understand. There are VAs that do an amazing job. I do hear, the other side of it, that there's some that aren't doing a great job, and I get then find, and that's why we did what we decided to do. I'm not answering your question right now, but
Okay.
we wanted to make sure we were creating a network that no matter who was on the other side of the line, we would be able to reach out into the network and say, "Hey, we've got your lunker on the hook. Let's call them up. Let's have this conversation." We don't do referrals. We don't say, "Hey, here's a phone number, call it. Here's an email it. Here's a website, go to it." I call the organization with the person on the line, and we build a relationship. That's what we do is different. I can honestly tell you, anyone that's entered our network, their phone number is in my phone. I've had conversations with them. They know that they can call me, text me, message me at any given time. My lines are open 24/7. We don't stop. There's no end in this. This is no finish line. There's no destination other than the mission. The mission is our destination, and we're here to help on all levels. So getting back to the fatigue piece, um, I don't know if there's an issue of fatigue other than I think there's more of an issue of confusion, and that's my
Okay. So
perspective.
so explain
And
that.
the confusion is our veterans when they come and are transitioning, and some people don't like the word transitioning, but we're here where we're at, and one of the viable words in our network. When they're transitioning into the real world, they only know of the VA as a resource. They might learn about their community leadership or their community BSO. They might learn, but they don't understand that there are a plethora, 46,000 organizations in the United States that claim they are here to help veterans and first responders. those organizations also haven't been vetted. So this adds to the confusion. Everyone thinks they need a service dog. Everyone thinks that they've got, this is going to sound terrible, but there's a lot of people that think they have PTSD. There are some people that have PTSD, and I'm never going to argue with anyone if they reach to me and say, I have PTSD. Okay, let's go through that. Let's talk that conversation. Let's build this relationship. Let's find out where it goes, and we'll get you to where you need to go. We got a lot of people self-diagnosing because they never had the chance to go see their organization. We have a lot of people that over medicated on these cocktails that they're getting from their private provider and or the VA. And again, I'm not saying don't take your pills, but at the same time, we're hearing story after story after story that maybe there's another way to do this. Maybe there's another way. Maybe you need to get off the couch and do a little bit more than your video games and eating your hot Cheetos and stuff like that. Again, not an attack on these people, and they need to learn that piece. I mean, there's that commercial out there for Planet Fitness that says low energy, come in here. I'm like, well, if I got low energy, the last thing I'm going to think about doing is go work out. That's not going to be on the list of things to do. But we're learning, fitness might be a piece. I believe interactions, relationships, and imano, on our show, they call me pause because I will get my paws on you. I've never been a hugger. It's really weird because I've never been a hugger. But since I've started this and started the joke of it, I mean, Travis, you don't have a beard, so I can't touch your beard. But it's like, we're beard to beard, baby. We're going to do this. It's safer to go beard to beard than what our drill sergeants used to say back in the day. Baby. I'll go beard to beard any day and not do butt to butt or the other way. So,
but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Do you still find
it's a tremendous lot of work? This is a marriage I didn't see coming, and I didn't realize. I thought the vision was we were going to be up and funded within 5 years, and then within 5 years, I'd be walking around the property that we have for veterans and first responders, sitting watching across the lake, drinking my Bloody Marys at 7 a.m. in the morning with a guitarist over at the fire pit playing music and veterans, throwing flower petals into the lake. That's the way I visioned it, and we're not quite there yet. We're getting there. We'll get there, but we're not quite there yet.
Well, it's really exciting. It's really exciting to see, what you're doing and how you're doing it. And to your point, I see a lot of organizations that will not go outside, their area of operation, and, they wouldn't possibly think about going to somebody else's event or saying, hey, I can pitch in and help out at your event, or, you can't come to my event because it's mine. And I'm like, you're closing yourself off to the power of the relationship. And
amen.
Right. And you can't, if you're not willing to give help, how can you ask for help? So, there's some learning there you can do too. I guess, just talking about the state of advocacy, what are some, and I can't believe I'm having to say this, but hear me out here. What are just some basic things that someone who's either starting a nonprofit or involved with one in our space can do to be effective?
You can't talk about it. You got to be about it. Of those 46,000 organizations we talk about, only 10% of them are even close to even doing anything. And we've made it our mission to be available, to be visible, and to help where we can. I mean, Eric Ogligshager down in Round Rock, Texas, did an event. I met the guy once, and we came down to his event. The event is about his son. His son died on one of the VA cocktails the weekend before he got a bed for treatment. And the next thing I know, I walk in and he's running the raffle for the gun raffle. And I'm like, Eric, this is your event. I met the guy. This is the second time. I go, get out there. I'll take care of this. He had no qualms, no worries. I mean, I'm not going to do anything. I mean, but I then was in charge of his gun raffle. And so I'm sitting there with his guns and with his money pile and taking tickets and making sure that the job was done. When we walk, we the people walk into an organizational event or meeting or anything, we are there to support. We're not there to gain. We'll put out a donation box, and everything that comes in that donation box, we tell everyone is going straight back to the organization where they're supporting. We do a ton on social media, and again, I'm sorry, I selfishly am doing this because it's a therapeutic for me, and B, one of the greatest messages I've heard in my life is, "You saved my life." It's a humbling statement to hear, but again, I mean, because I don't have the power. I'm not God. I mean, let's face it. But when someone has put enough faith in me to make sure that I know that what we've done in our event has saved their life, I'm going to keep doing what we're doing, one at a time. We're going to keep going. Um, we run ourselves ragged, and it's not in vain. It's for a purpose. We are constantly tired. Um, Not a complaint, because the energy comes when we get to hug our new best friends and touch beards and eat great food and drink cigars and listen to great music and know that the other people are feeling the same way I'm feeling inside because we're making a difference. And
I
so,
was gonna ask, how do you recharge the battery? Is that how you do it?
events, honestly, events are how I recharge the battery. I get a little every Sunday before our show from about 1 o'clock to 2:30 ish. I get a nap. That's my recharge. And then I eat my dinner at 3, and I'm on the in the platform by 5, and then 6 o'clock we're live, and then we're back at it the next day at 4:30. And like I said, me and Andrea are busy teaching during the week, and we do a lot of stuff with our education, not only at our state but national level. We've got an organization with the National Education Association called Heroes in the Classroom, and I can get into that story some other time about why that had to be put in place. But it had to be with um, a police officer that shot a guy in Minnesota, and who happened to be part of the education world. And I'm getting into it. Sorry.
All right.
Me and Andrew are walking on an education march, and I hear "F the police" with the whole vernacular, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Um, we're not going to do that. And I'm very tight with my state leadership. I'm very tight with the national leadership. I built, when I say we built the Heroes in the Classroom for the purpose of we have children that have mommies and daddies that are police officers, firefighters, EMS, deployed. We have some of our educational members who are part of first responder organizations and who have served, myself included. So we're not going to F anybody in the educational system, and we're not going to do that game, just like we don't do it anywhere else. And we find a way to fix the problems. And we've taken it on the chin a little bit in that world when it comes to how police officers have acted in our world. And I have to remind people, you know what? Not everyone's that clean cut all American soldier. There were turds in the military as well, and there are turds in every niche of the world as well. And so, um, have those real conversations. We talk about everything. That's the other part. Um, Talk about the hard conversations. Talk about sometimes.
What I'm hearing is show up and help out.
Be involved.
Be involved. Don't withhold, but be involved, and then be authentic. I mean, that's the one thing that I got, from you all when I met you in Nashville and have watched you all grow over the last couple of years is, be true to what your mission is. And so, we're coming into, 2024. We're out of COVID now. We've been out of war now for a while, even though the world is just seems to be blown up around us. It's just crazy. What does advocacy look like? And not just for you all, but think about this. I mean, if and I hope we stay out of war for a while. One thing I'm noticing is the World War II veterans are dying off. The Vietnam War veterans are right behind them. Everybody's forgot about Korea, but it's going to start getting smaller in the next 5 to 10 years. What do you think advocacy is going to look like?
Well, I think there definitely needs to be a change. We were talking about this the other day, and I jokingly said, no one wants to sit in that dark, smoke-filled, beer-smelling VFW or Legion. I mean, everyone's drinking lattes and doing yoga these days. So, I mean, we're gonna have to change the narrative a little bit. But I think that's the direction, for lack of a better word, and again, our branding kind of, it's not about the People's Patriot Project, but our branding says we're working together. We, the people, the initial foundation of the way that, and we get in, not the argument, but I'm willing to have the conversation, because we do have groups of people in our country that say they haven't gotten their fair share. And I'm like, okay, let's have that conversation. I'm willing to hear you. It hasn't been perfect, but show me a country that has had the same progress as the United States has had in less than 300 years. Less than three. I mean, you can say generations, but 300-year-old people, and we're coming on the boat. I mean, let's face it, that's not that long.
Yeah.
So I think we've done an amazing job of learning and amending the broken pieces to right. And the unfortunate piece, and I'm not the guy in the room to have this conversation, and I don't get to be the guy that leads the tip of the spear on this one, but you've got to let some of the past be the past, and look for progress. And I'm willing to work on the progressive process with you. I'm not willing to sit and stew in about the past and say I'm responsible for it, because I wasn't here for it.
Yeah.
I will definitely help. I will definitely help make this world, make this country, make my community a better place by accepting all, learning more, and proactively accepting, and just like boots on the ground, being active. The You said the advocacy. I mean, the thing is, all of us joined the military for a reason. All of us joined to be on a first responder unit for a reason. I guarantee you, when you were walking into the recruiter station, you weren't looking at the money signs or the dollar signs when you're doing that. All of us had an innate idea. Now, not everyone. I mean, some people went in there because that was the best option for education for them, and I get that. And some of them took the reins and ran with it. Some of them chose not to. Um, some of them did it for just college money. Get that too. But overall, in the big piece of life, people did it because they wanted to do something bigger than themselves. And I think we need to remember to do that. That's, for lack, it's our mantra. We always ask, what are you doing? What are you doing? If Who's committed, the chicken or the pig? Be involved. Am I hurting anyone helping? No, I'm not. We had the civil discourse here in Minnesota during right after COVID, and we were thrown under the bus a little bit by community because we were taking rations and supplies down to those that were, helping with the civil unrest. And well, why aren't you helping your community? Well, did you hear about the 3 semi loads of food that we took down to the community, because the people donated peanut butter and spaghetti sauce to us, and it had no business going to our guys that were on the front lines. So we donated those trucks to the community centers down in that area. So it's not our primary mission. And again, some people like to throw money at the little bloody and muddy puppies and kitties at night on the commercial with Sarah McLaughlin singing "In the Arms of an Angel," and that's not me. I'm not going to throw money at puppies and kitties. I'm going to take care of those people that have given me the reason and purpose to lay my big fat head on the pillows of freedom every single day. and then I don't have to worry about who's coming in my back door. I know if I dial 911, someone will be here to save my ass. Those are the people I want to take care of. And you would think that the 90% of the country that doesn't uh, sign the line of any way, you would think that they would want to make sure that there's someone on the other side of the 911 call when they call. But I don't think they connect all the dots yet. We'll get it. We'll make it happen.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's a huge action component to what you all do. What is your mission? You mentioned some big event in 2024. Can you talk about that?
Yes.
Well, you don't have to.
No. I think there needs to be, at some point, there needs to be a time where we launch. But we have signed some memorandum of orders. Is that right? MOUs. Yes. Memorandum of understandings. Based on some, because we are creating an event in a main venue. We'll say Nashville, where many people can gather, and we're using, not using, but we are going to use professionals. Now I say professionals, but our musicians are professionals. But we're going to have A-listers, B-listers, and C-listers perform, and then our musicians, the people, are not the people, the veterans and first responders who are as equally as talented, play on the same stages with them. It's kind of, I mean, if you look at it, it's kind of like, I don't know if you watched the last few days or nights of American Idol. I mean, let's get some product placement here. When the contestants get to play with their real life idols. Yeah. I mean, not exactly like that, because you know what? Our narrative is about America. And again, there's other countries that are amazing too, but I'm going to take care of my backyard before I take care of someone else's backyard. We're going to focus on America and what the talent of America, and then the event. I'll tell you, the event's called the Parade of Heroes, and there is just a week long experience. There's nothing like it happening right now. And we're working and talking with some upper media networks. Maybe that's how I'll say it.
All right. So it sounds very interesting. So how can people?
I wish I could say more. I'm also we're smart. I don't know if we're smart, but let me rephrase that. We never overpromise and underdeliver. That's not being smart. That's just we want to make sure everything's in place before we say, hey, this is it, and we got to make sure all the ducks are in a row. And the crazy part is there's a real significant financial piece of this that needs to be an upfront piece, and we don't necessarily. So our mission first is taking care of veterans and first responders. I have a hard time laying a deposit of a 6 and 7 figure type scenario when I've got veterans that reach out to me that just need to have food in the refrigerator, or rent for the month, or something, any ask like that.
Yeah. So we'll close down with this. How can people help you all with your mission?
That's a great question. Time, talent, and treasure. And you know what? The time element is as simple as liking and sharing, and letting your network and family and friends understand that there is a viable mission that's different than any other organization that said they help veterans and first responders in the past. We are boots on the ground. We're putting our paws on you, and we're making a difference. Talent, if you can run social media, if you can have a special knack in fundraising, if you have some managerial skills, if you like planning, we have a plethora of opportunities there. from working on our radio station, with working on our live casts, on working on our setting up events, booking musicians across the country for other events. I mean, it literally is a 24-hour job that we're doing. And again, we do shows like this, and zero complaints. If I'm doing shows like this, I can't be worrying why we're not getting emails because our email server's down today, kind of stuff. And that's okay. We'll get it figured out. But I'd like someone to figure out that for me right now. If you can figure out my email issues, that'd help, because we're in critical. I think I can say this. We were just recently this week, we were announced the Reads Across America liaison and area director for Fort Snelling here in Minnesota. That's 240,000 grave sites that we are helping take care of. That we are the organizing organizers for the Reads Across America here in Minnesota. So another piece that we're here supporting another organization that's doing good things. Just happened this week, but I can't get my emails to talk to them about it.
Gotta find out what servers you're using, So it's
an MX issue with our domain server right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the issue. I just got to get all the parties that are playing together to get it done.
Yep. Yes, you do. On that one. Absolutely.
Busy people.
All right. Mark, we met in Nashville, seeing, what you do. I enjoy coming on Sunday nights. Just the sheer breadth of people you talk to and the talent you have is really amazing. And, I'm a big, supporter of you all. And, I appreciate being able to share, my show on the Public People's Patriot Project page. It really means a lot to me. And all the best, man, for what you're doing. And I love that you get, fueled up by helping other people.
100%. And I mean, let your network know. And I know you've got a great network of supporters. We don't want them as supporters, but we want them to come on and share their mission, share their story. It's easier when they reach out to us because, you know what, out of general courtesy, I don't go to Travis's show and say, oh, we're going to cherry pick this guest and put him on ours right away. We will reach out and have conversations, but you know what? You want your story and your mission out there, and you've done Travis's show, reach out to us, and we'll gladly do that. And again, Travis does a great job advocating for some of his guests, and us vice versa. And Travis knows that he can reach into our network anytime. And no, it's all part of what I know. These two brothers are getting down and doing.
Well, we'll definitely get beard to no beard, or beard to bald one day. We'll figure that out. But Mark, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Can't wait to see you again in 2024, and all the best. Hey, folks, I'll have the links to the radio station, Die Tired, the Facebook page, everything with the People's Patriot Project. Andrea, you owe me for next time. I miss you, and we will see you all soon. Mark, thanks again.
Patriot Pride.
As we say in Oscar Mike Radio, we are mission in flight. Stay tuned for more. Check back next time. We are out. Thank you for listening and watching Oscar Mike Radio, where our active duty service members and veterans are in action, and the mission is in flight. Oscar Mike Radio is an oversized load Co-Sinister One production. If you are a veteran or know a veteran who needs help, please dial 988 and press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Line.